The Pittsburgh Penguins have made a sneaky good signing. We're going to break down who this player is and his future with the Penguins. We also have a major update on the head coaching search, and this update will have Penguins fans absolutely shocked. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Penguins Digest, but before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you want to stay up to date with everything Pittsburgh Penguins, this is the place to be for all your daily Pittsburgh Penguins news. So go down below, hit that free subscribe button, and again, you get to stay up to date with everything going on with the Penguins. But Mark, today we are going to start with an interesting signing. Didn't really expect this one, but the Pittsburgh Penguins making a move ahead of the draft. And the Penguins have signed forward, and this is a former draft pick of theirs. I say former draft pick, he's still in the system, but they officially signed him, and it is Mikhail Ilyin to a 3-year entry-level contract as ELC. He was playing the KHL. We're going to get to that and some of his stats and stuff, as you can see here. Again, last season in the KHL, because he did play in the Junior League as well, and he played sometime 2 years ago in the KHL's Junior League and the MHL. But last season in the KHL, 64 games played. He had 30 points. The year before that, he had 65 games played. He had 29 points. So pretty good. Even seasons, right? Like, didn't really take a significant step, but a very good season. I mean, some of these numbers are really good for the KHL. So, Mark, what do you think of this signing? Again, former 5th round pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins 2 years ago. They finally signed him, and I think it has more to do with some of the players that are going to be making the roster next year and them just replenishing what's happening in the AHL.
I mean, the big thing is a lot of people might look at a prospect like this and say a 5th round pick only putting up 30 points. What's the big deal? But we know a lot of these players coming over from the KHL get taken late because you don't know if you're getting him actually joining the system or if he's going to get drafted, never come over. Then you lose a pick, but 30 points is very respectable in a league that is still very hard to play in. We see pro players, we see ex-NHL players, very good players. We've seen Davidov just come over with the Montreal Canadiens. These kids have flourished coming over from the KHL, making the transition. Am I going to say he's going to immediately join this team? Probably not, but there is a lot to work with. You get a guy that's only 20 years old, 30 points in the KHL. As I said, is not easy to do. It's not the flashiest numbers, but still a very good piece, Darius. I think the big thing is, like you said, we need to get more players in Scranton. There's going to be a lot of young guys called up to work into this new Penguins team as they look at their retool, but adding guys like this could be a low risk with a very high reward at the end of the day.
Yeah, when you look at the end of the season, you know, the roster that they were icing the Pittsburgh Penguins, this is in the NHL, there was a lot of players from Wilkes-Barre Scranton, right? Like, they were filling out the roster with a lot of those guys, and I suspect some of them will make the team out of training camp next year. I think that is the plan. So they have to kind of, you know, replenish the cupboard here, so to speak, with the AHL squad. And this is, I think, a really good player. He's not the biggest player, right? 6 foot tall, you know, 180 pounds, not the biggest guy, but putting up some really good points in the KHL. Like you said, it's still a very hard league to play in. It's not like it's a second-rate league or anything like that. He's still half a point a game player over there in the KHL. And you can see here from Jesse that, you know, he will say this, that there's a lot of people out there saying that he's a bad skater and he can't get around the ice. He disagrees. He thinks that he's an extremely agile and intentional skater. So he's getting around the ice intentionally. It's not like he's, you know, wasting his energy. We see a lot of guys like that in the NHL, kind of, you know, look like they're really trying hard and they're not getting anywhere, right? And they're not making plays. So he's very intentional with his foot speed, and he's very smart and uses a variety of tempos in attack. So it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of plays into the dynamic of this team. Again, I don't think that he's going to make the team next year, but he's going to be in the AHL. They're going to continue to develop him. Again, he was a 5th round pick, and it was only 2 years ago, right? So hopefully this is a guy who can make the NHL at some point, but remains to be seen at this point. And you can see here from Chell, Penguins start strong to Pittsburgh's offseason, signing Ilyin, of course, and in 23-24, you can see he had 29 points, and then last year he had 30 points, as we mentioned. His 30-point season at 19 makes him one of just 8 teenagers to hit that mark in KHL history. Only 8 people have ever done that in the KHL. It's difficult to score there. It really is. So, you know, and Shabanov is one of them, by the way, who we covered in another video. So pretty good company there. And I did want to touch on this as well. He turned 20 in February. He makes him, again, one of just 8 players in KHL history to accumulate 30-plus points in a single campaign. And for the team, the record was set by Pavel Buchnevich in 2014-15. So good company. There's some really good names there for this player. So any final thoughts on this, Mark? Again, he's probably going to play in the AHL next season, but I think this is a pretty good value signing and a guy who's played really well the last couple of years.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. And kind of going back on the skating, yes, having a guy that's super fast is nice, but we see a lot of players. I mean, John Tavares at age, 35 or 36 with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not a strong skater, but he is very strong and agile. He knows how to use his blades. He's not the fastest, but skating's not the end of all when the player isn't the fastest. But I think overall, being an elite company, 30 points in the KHL, I think he has a bright future. Maybe in 2 years' time, we see him join the Penguins as a full-time player.
Definitely. And I think that you can always work on these things anyway, especially, that's why they're bringing him in to do that, I think. So you can always work on those things and you can still make intentional plays even without the foot speed. And the Penguins are going to be a fast team, I think, anyway. That's kind of, what they're trying to do. At least we'll see if that ends up happening. Now, to switch gears before we wrap up here, an update on the coaching search because it's getting very interesting. We heard last week, you can basically call it official. It was Mitch Love. He's going to be hired as the next head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. But something has transpired over the last couple of days. And of course, we heard that DJ Smith was going to meet with Kyle Dubas on either Thursday or Friday of last week. And that obviously happened. And now David Pagnotta is saying that obviously, he believes that the Pittsburgh Penguins were in a similar boat over the weekend in terms of picking their successful candidate to take over the coaching job. But it's now down to 2 candidates, and he believes that DJ Smith is one of them. An announcement could come as early as today at the time we're making this, or tomorrow, which I thought was very interesting. So this could be coming soon. I think that was the end of their interviews. So I think they're down to 2. I think it's Mitch Love, and I think that it is DJ Smith. What are you seeing from this? Is there something that Penguins fans should probably be scared of in this? Because again, we talked about in a video last week, Mitch Love is the guy for me. I think that he should be the next head coach. Of course, he has to accept the job, but by all the indications he will because he wants to be on the East Coast, right? So what do you make of this?
I mean, the big thing is I think Mitch Love is the home run candidate. You need to go out and get this guy. He might lack the experience that DJ Smith has, but the big thing is DJ Smith doesn't have the best track record. We've seen him as an assistant coach throughout the league. He joined the Ottawa Senators. It didn't really work out. I think the big thing is where the Penguins currently stand. You can bring Mitch Love in, use him for 2 years. If he works perfectly, you have a coach that you got under the radar from a lot of guys, and if he doesn't, move on from him when you're getting out of this retool in a year or two. Bringing a new coach, yes, spending money, letting go of coaches, spending the money on someone that's not with the organization is not ideal, but I think with DJ Smith and the track record we've seen, Darius, it's probably not the worst, but it's also not the best hire, and that's why I think Mitch Love has to be the guy the Penguins go after.
And I think DJ Smith, again, you can always learn from your mistakes, and obviously being a head coach with Ottawa, it didn't really work out there, but I think that he's just suited to be a really good assistant coach because he can be the good guy and the good guy, bad cop, or the good cop, bad cop kind of situation there with some head coaches, right? So we saw that kind of work in Toronto when he was in Toronto, and again, he knows Kyle Dubas from Toronto. I would be very skeptical if I was a Pittsburgh Penguins fan with this hire. So it's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing, but it sounds like a decision is coming very soon. But we want to hear what you have to say in the comments. What did you think of the signing? I think it's a pretty good one. I think he's going to be great, probably in the AHL next season. And, putting up some impressive numbers. I think they want to continue to develop him. And who do you think is going to be the next head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins? I think it's either DJ Smith or Mitch Love at this point. And again, my vote would be Mitch Love. But, there is some history there between DJ Smith and Kyle Dubas. But let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Pittsburgh Penguins.